Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading for the week of August 18th through 24th. Welcome. What do I have to tell you guys? The same spiel. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already subscribed. Please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies and the influences of the week. Please put comments down below. I always love reading comments. Let me know how this resonates. Let me know how it doesn't resonate. Give me any comments or feedback about the channel. All I ask is that you be kind, and that's it. That's it, guys. Let's just jump right into it. I'm really excited to see what the week has in store for us. Oh yeah, so usually I tell you what decks. Same 3 decks, no surprises here. All shuffled, all different order. All right, let's go. What do we need? All right, Messiah. So serving humanity with humility. Okay. So we need to serve more. We need to be of service more. We need to feel useful. Oh boy, do I get that. We need to help others. We need to give more. I think last week we had a little bit of this energy about maybe receiving. Now this is kind of like an energy of giving, which is interesting. You always need a balance. So maybe you guys did more of the receiving last week. Now it's more of a giving type week, but it definitely does feel like we want to be of service. We want to be useful. I keep hearing the word useful. If there's a volunteer event, if there's some kind of charity event, if there's some kind of something that you can, maybe a coworker needs you to cover their shift, right? That's, in my opinion, would be serving humanity, right? Yeah, so be the, in that archetype of the Messiah. There's not really too much more I could say here. It's pretty straightforward, but yeah, definitely be of service. All right, action needed. Never-ending story. Okay, so this is really about something that goes on and on and on, doesn't end. But it's like the round and round card, but it sometimes has more of a negative connotation, which I do definitely feel from this card here with the energy. So action needed, it says, whatever is the never-ending story in your life, we kind of have to cut that out. So we have to actually make an ending, right? And so this is basically saying, like, if something is ongoing and ongoing and ongoing and ongoing and ongoing and ongoing, and if it's causing you stress, anxiety, any kind of disarray, right? Any kind of emotional dysregulation, then basically Spirit is saying maybe it's time to cut this thing off, right? Because it's under action needed, and basically it's saying, like, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting different results. You can't keep doing it without really expecting it to really make you want to pull your hair out, right? So this is basically saying, like, it's time to end something, whether it's a habit, whether it's a relationship, whether it is a routine, whatever it actually is that doesn't, a pattern that doesn't work for you anymore. It's time to cut that out. That one is also pretty straightforward. So yeah, guys, be very clear on, I want to be very clear on this. It's under action needed. So, it's not maybe something that we're thinking about. It's kind of something that we need to take action on. All right, what do we have? Issues this week. Dream and journey. Okay, so this is about looking forward, planning the future, dreaming about what you want, manifestation, that kind of thing. Thinking about the journey, mapping out the path. So we're having issues with that. So for whatever reason, this reading is for the collective, so it might be a bunch of different reasons for every individual out there. But for whatever reason, we're having trouble planning our future. Maybe because it's uncertain, right? Maybe something happens this week that makes it uncertain, right? That we're like, oh, I can't plan ahead now. I can't, focus on the future. I can't picture what life will be like with this, cog in the wheel, maybe that's not the right saying, with this, wrench thrown into it. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. A wrench thrown into your plans. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so we're having trouble doing that, and it's making us confused, and it's under issue, so it definitely causes us distress of some kind, but a lot of things in life are unknown, right? So maybe something changes where you thought that you can plan the future and now you can't. Maybe your pet gets sick, and you can't plan your future vacations because you don't know the health of your pet, things like that. So something gets thrown in there and it kind of throws you off. But again, nothing that you can't handle. I just want to make that very clear for the issue and the challenge sections. these cards and these energies aren't meant to scare you. They're just, letting you know what you might be having a little bit more of a difficult time with. But again, nothing that you can't overcome. All right, we have rebel in the shadow, rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. Okay, so this is like not rebelling like in a more positive way, rebelling because you're angry, or just rebels to rebel, right? And so basically it's saying that we're having a challenge with that, so we might be rebelling just to do it, right? It's not for like a bigger cause. It's not because you feel like it's righteous, more so because you feel like you're angry about something. So maybe your partner asked you to take out the trash this week and you feel like, it's a legitimate thing for them to ask you to do that, but you feel like you're pulling all the weight and you want to be passive aggressive and not, take out the trash. So you're rebelling against, it's not like you forgot. It's not like you're too busy. You're choosing to rebel against. In this case, I wouldn't say it's like really a authority figure, like somebody above you, but it's it's on an equal fitting, like on a peer level. But yeah, like it's kind of like the Avenger in the shadow. It's like you're doing your own kind of vigilante justice. Like you feel like that's fair. That's fair. If they don't, but you're not communicating it. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just feel like it's, you're rebelling out of anger and you're not necessarily using your words. Maybe you're not communicating properly. But it's not necessarily for a righteous cause. It's really just, just to do it, just to piss somebody off or, or to make somebody mad. All right. What's changing? This is the corner that I like. Message in a bottle. Speaking of communication, okay, so this is about communicating. This is sometimes about having trouble communicating. So what's changing here is that we are communicating a little bit better. That fares really well right after that rebel card, after I was just saying. So as I already mentioned, these issues and these challenges are things, are just obstacles that we come across in the week or the month or whatever it is. This time it's the week. And it's something that we can't overcome. So I definitely do feel like we're starting to change the way that we communicate, change the way that we speak, change the way that, we relate in relationships. And by the way, I'm getting it in a very positive way. So that rebel, like I said, definitely could be overcome for sure, especially with that message in a bottle following it. All right, focus. What do we need to focus on? What do we need to prioritize? Mother Earth, feel loved and comforted. Okay, so this could be a few different things. This could be focus and give priority to things that make you feel comforted, things that make you feel at home, things that make you feel loved. So this could definitely translate to self-care for sure. But this could also be like focus on being outside, focus on being grounded, focus on getting out in nature, focus on touching grass. Okay, another pretty straightforward one. All right, what do we need to reflect on? We have visionary upside down, selling insights to the highest bidder, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. Okay, so this is suppressing your vision, thinking that your ideas are too crazy, toning it down because somebody said it was too extraordinary, it was too big, it was not possible. So it's under reflect. So basically, a lot of good journal prompts can come out of this. Think about times where maybe you suppressed yourself because somebody said it was too much, or somebody told you your ideas were too much, or what business didn't you start because somebody said it was impossible or it was dumb, right? Things like that. So definitely reflect on that. Think about your ideas and why maybe you've suppressed some of those ideas. Think about like why you haven't gone forward with like your, like even for like your vision for your life as well. Because maybe somebody told you it was stupid or impossible or something along those lines. So yeah, definitely think about that. Go deep with that. This is a good reflect prompt. Those are good reflect prompts. Okay, responsibility, regeneration. Ooh, when I love this card comes up. I love a few cards in the deck. I love the warrior cards, which we haven't seen in a while. And then the regeneration. Basically, regeneration is building back, sometimes the same, sometimes better. So it's your responsibilities to yeah, I want to say replace, like replace something, like build it back the same or even better. Okay, so it's your responsibilities to do that. So what's a good example for this? You know, I always give like the house fire type of example. Like if your house burns down, you rebuild a house, you know, exactly the same. You start from square one and you get back there and you make the house, you know, now it has solar panels on it, you know, now it's better for the environment, or now it has an extra room or a better bathroom or whatever, right? Yeah, so building back, you know, and basically it's under responsibility. So basically it's saying, it's like, I know we had like a message of like, don't give up last week. This is somewhat of this similar type energy where it's kind of saying like, if you've lost something, don't worry, you can build it back. And that's your responsibility to do so, because responsibility kind of moves us out of, you know, saying like, you know, a more like negative place or a more pessimistic place, and basically saying like, no, I can get it back and I can get it back better, right? So that's your responsibility, to kind of like have that mindset and actually, you know, make the move to go forward with that plan, basically. So I love that. Okay. Money, finances, and career. We have White Witch, be the light. Okay, so this is about being the light in the darkness. So seeing things in a more positive light. We just kind of talked about, you know, I just mentioned pessimism. Pessimism? Is that right? Yeah, you know, a pessimistic mindset. But this is more of a optimistic mindset. So money, finances, and career. I put career in here. So this is basically saying like having a little bit more of a positive outlook. Also because it's, you know, it says be the light instead of be the darkness. So, you know, having, again, that more optimistic look on your money, finances, and career, but also that things might be looking up in that way. So not even just your mindset changing, but like actually you see the light, right? So maybe if you've been out of debt, which I would consider something in the darkness, right? You're slowly climbing out of debt, right? And so that would, you know, that would constitute like the White Witch, you know, seeing things, you know, you can finally almost see the light at the end of the tunnel, basically. So we love that. And congrats to anybody paying off debt. All right, surprise. We have bully in the shadow, conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. Okay, so we don't like bullies. All right, don't love this. This would probably be the red flag if there were any in this reading so far. And this is basically saying like, surprise, a bully comes out of nowhere. That's basically the kind of energy that I'm getting here. So it might come from an unexpected source, like, you know, you're not expecting like at your new job to your new manager to be such a bully, you know, and it kind of comes, a surprise comes out of nowhere. Maybe if you feel like your sibling is a bully, maybe you run into them this week or something like that, or have to see them this week and you weren't planning on it. Something along those lines, but basically it's saying, you know, the bully is coming out, and maybe, you know, it might be referring to us as well. Like maybe our inner bully comes out, right? Maybe bullying ourselves, putting ourselves down. So watch out for that. That's, in my opinion, equally as bad, equally as negative, maybe I want to say. Yeah, just watch out for that bully energy. It's definitely coming for sure. It's not so great. Red flag. But again, nothing that you guys can't handle. All right, friends. By the book. Okay, so this is about structure. This is about doing things the way that they're supposed to be done, doing things in an order, doing things, you know, by the rules. So it's under friends. So this could be in maybe structuring in your friends, you know, structuring community plans this week. You know, making sure you keep your appointments with your friends. By the book maybe means that maybe you're doing something with a friend. Maybe you're doing, you know, maybe you're in school and you guys have a project to do, and you know, your friend wants to, you know, break the rules a little bit with it, and basically you want to do it exactly by the book, exactly what the teacher wants, exactly what the professor wants, that kind of thing. So there's something around here, you know, where it's basically saying play by the book, play by the rules, and things will, you know, you'll be successful and things will work out well. But yeah, definitely feels like a little bit more structure, you know, around, could be, again, meeting up with friends, you know, keeping appointments, things like that. Romantic connection. What do we have? Stag, trust, and thrive. Okay, so this is about thriving, which is great, and trust, which is great, which are two really awesome things to have in the romantic connection. So yeah, things like it's almost saying like things are going well. Maybe if you're having trust issues in your relationships, you know, they're better this week. You know, you see a change in your partner. You're feeling like you do feel more trusting. Maybe your partner trusts you more, and things are thriving. So, I mean, there's not too much more I can say here of romantic connection, but it looks good, guys. It looks good for those that are partnered. Those that are single, what this could mean is like maybe you're trusting the process more. You know, maybe you're like a little bit more on the controlling side of like, you know, or again, the pessimistic side about dating, like you're never going to find somebody or you're never going to connect with somebody. You're never gonna get married if that's your goal. And basically this is saying like trust the process, and you finally kind of like embrace that, and that makes you thrive more. You know, you notice that your energy kind of is attracting more people that are like that, but also you know, they're attracted to the type of energy. You know, like you're not, you know, by you being controlling, you're not attracting controlling people. It's more people that are, you know, a little bit more detached in a good way, you know, in a positive way. But yeah, it definitely does feel like trusting the process is the way to go. Don't lose hope, my single people. Okay, we have healer. Aha, important. Taking advantage of those who need help, failing to care for oneself. Okay, so it's upside down. Healer is the other one that I like besides warrior and regeneration, but this one is upside down. A lot of her shadows came in upside down, so a lot of, you know, quote unquote shadow work going on here. So basically it's saying that we're failing to care for ourselves, right? Our inner healer. So it's important not to do that. You know, it's under important. It's saying like, do not neglect your self-care or taking care of yourself. Remember, we had a little bit of self-care energy going on in the focus and priorities, so that makes sense. So yeah, definitely take care of yourself. Put yourself first. It's okay. You know, it's not selfish. It's you know, make sure you have, you know, don't pour from an empty cup, right? Is the saying. So yeah, take care of yourselves, guys. All right, health and wellness. We have between worlds. Yes. Okay. Another one I actually like because well, limbo is not the greatest place to be in, right? Where we have 1 foot out in the old world, 1 foot in the new world. It could feel like that. It feels odd, right? It feels like, where do I go? Where do I belong? Can I start this new life? I still have things in my old life. It's under health and wellness. So if you're on any kind of wellness journey, which I know most of you guys are on, I'm on a physical one. I talk about it all the time. And I would actually say mental and spiritual too. You know, and some people are out there on a mental health journey. Some people are out there on a spiritual journey. Some, you know, some all three like me. So this is basically saying like your new life hasn't quite started, but you're still in the old. So it's okay. You're almost there, right? So it's kind of saying like, okay, almost there, almost there. So I always give like an example of a wellness journey, like a weight loss journey. So maybe you're not at your goal weight, but you're not exactly at where you started, right? You're somewhere in the middle or closer to the end. So it's okay, you know, now maybe you have to, you know, your middle point or, you know, your 75% point where you are with your goals. Maybe it's time to shop for new clothes, you know, get yourself a new wardrobe, like that kind of thing. So it does feel weird in limbo, as I like to call it, between worlds, aka between worlds, but every time this comes out, it's saying like you're almost there. Like, you know, it's not going to be as confusing or weird where you have like, you know, your old life and your new life kind of like blending itself together, and it's kind of like you don't know, you know, you don't know where to go. Another good one for this is like a divorce, okay, which definitely could constitute like a spiritual and a mental journey for sure. It's kind of like, you know, you have some of your stuff at your old place and then you moved out, right? And so you have some of your stuff at your new place and you have to go back to your old place for your mail. You know, you haven't figured out the schedule with the kids, you know, things like that. So that it constitutes, and we can be there for a long time. You know, divorces take a long time. So I'm not shocked when this card comes up. There is a new life card in this deck, and there's other cards that really represent that. So I haven't seen those in a while. You know, where we feel like we're kind of like embodying more of the new life, but This always comes out saying like, it's okay that you are where you are, where you're not fully where you want to be, and that's okay. But you have to see how far you've come, and you have to realize that you're almost there. Okay, so it's not going to be that awkward stage. It's like another thing. It could be awkward here, right? Maybe it's awkward because your weight loss journey, like some clothes fit, some clothes don't. You don't know what your style is quite yet. You don't know how to dress. It feels awkward, right? So yeah, that's definitely a good word for this, but you're almost there. Okay, and that's definitely the message we need to kind of take from that. All right, overall outcome, we have High Priest, intend and create. Okay, so make intentions and create. Okay, so this is very interesting to counter off the drum and journey card up there, drum, dream, and journey, because we're having issues kind of like planning ahead, or maybe something happens this week that makes it unknown. And that's okay, because you might not know, exactly concrete what you want to do. Go back to school, study this major, then intern at this place, and get a residency at this place, or whatever, your path is, or whatever. So maybe you can't necessarily pinpoint the exact path, but this is more about like, don't necessarily focus on the path, focus on the intentions, and then try to create those intentions. So yeah, I just listed a bunch of things that would be considered like more concrete, more structured things, right? We're talking about structure over here by the book, but this is basically saying like, actually focus on your intentions, like how you want to feel. Do you want to feel successful? Whatever the plan is to get there, it doesn't necessarily matter. You have to focus on like how you want to feel and what your intentions are. Do you want to be successful? Do you want to be making a certain amount of money? Do you want to be, it's kind of like saying like, where do you, like, just don't worry about how you get from point A to point B, just worry about what point B is, right? That's kind of what it's saying, and create an intention behind it. And also I can really tie it back to that Messiah card about really being of service to others. We didn't get another message like that throughout the reading, but I don't want to dismiss it. It was the first card that we pulled. This could also be that, right? Where maybe when you heard that original message, what I said earlier about being of service, maybe you're saying like, how do I be of service? Yeah, maybe I said charity, maybe I said organization, volunteer, like whatever. But this is basically saying like, okay, what do you want to feel? Maybe you want to embody that feeling of being in service. Making people feel good about themselves, making people feel worthy of themselves, right? And that could get you to where you need to go. Not necessarily kind of like figuring out exactly what the organization is that you're going to volunteer at, what charity and how much money you're going to donate. Think about how it's going to make you feel and what your intentions are around it. So that could definitely tie in for sure. So I love that. It's a great card to end on. I'm liking this week, guys. Like I said, anything that I would consider a red flag would be this bully. I hate being bullied. I was bullied growing up. Okay, the archetype is a little triggering for me. But I don't think I know anybody that likes being bullied. But yeah, there's some kind of bully energy coming through, including maybe embodying it ourselves, and maybe us finding ourselves. We're not perfect. Okay? We're not perfect. We might, end up, bullying somebody in some way. Maybe you don't know if it's necessarily bullying. Maybe you're trying to buy a house and you're trying to get the original owners to go down on their price, and maybe you're bullying them around it. Okay, maybe you don't think you are, but maybe you think it's negotiation, but maybe you're bullying them. Okay, so that's one way you could kind of sneak attack, right? But definitely could be coming to us from someone else. So watch your back, guys, for those bullies. Protect yourself, all those good things. And yeah, guys, looks like a good week. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.